Okay, so I'm going through and banding this stuff. Well, I think I've done a couple videos in the past of kind of how you do it, but I figured I'd kind of walk through it again if you're new to the channel and interested in kind of how we band stuff. So take the banding material, use these little kind of U-clips that are just friction. So you have some that clamp on there. These are just friction ones. And then you have the actual tool, which is basically just a ratchet that ratchets everything together with a little clamp on the back. So to start with, you get it around your material, make sure it's flat all the way around. Then you fold the cut end back on itself so it's on top. Take the little clamp and take the little U shape and with the solid part, so you kind of have the little horseshoe piece back here, solid part toward you. And like I just like these cut ends facing to my right just because it's easier for me to work. But basically you take this hoop piece and slide it through this slot here. So you're going to go around and then back like that, and then just kind of pull it so that it's tight, and then that's the friction bit. So then on the other side, basically you do the same process. So you kind of get a measurement here, you need it just a little bit past. The more you have, the easier it'll be, but you also have a little bit more waste that way, but just to kind of show. So you have the little cut end, so basically you do the same thing. So you twist it, hook the hole through, and then with the friction, it can be difficult, but you can pull a little bit of the excess through to kind of tighten it up. So then here, doing it this direction, you're kind of backwards, but basically you take and you put this on there so that the bottom piece, the piece that's going to stay attached, you pull down, which opens up this little foot, so that'll hold the strapping material. Just gotta make sure it's straight. And then the other piece on here is a cutter. So like for this stuff, we won't be redoing any of it or trying to tighten it up because it'll be used relatively quickly. So I'll go ahead and feed it through. So I'll open this up so the handle's sticking up, feed it through the cutter, and then these little notches in the piece that ratchets, you just feed it through that. So you have this over the top. I just kind of put my hand back here so whenever it feeds off the roll, because it's still attached, it kind of feeds over top of this, and then just kind of make sure everything's in line here, and then you're just going to ratchet. And basically it takes up the slack in this, and pulls it tight. And then just by the friction of this thing being clamped together, it squeezes those kind of pieces together, which then clamp it. So then whenever you're done or happy with how tight it is, and like these, so you have two things to kind of watch for whenever you tighten. So one is it'll start to actually break here. So it'll actually start to kind of tear here, which it kind of started a little bit, but not too bad. So that's the first spot to look for. And then whenever you get too tight, you'll start this back piece here that clamps down on here will kind of start to slip, and then it will cause tears in this and make it weak. I've never had one break from this, but I have had the tears start. But once you're happy there with how tight it is, basically you just take and squeeze. By squeezing, you cut that piece off, it lifts the foot up, and then you just rotate this off, and then you can release. So now you have a tight band. This extra here, you can just work off of this, and then it's still connected to the roll. So that's how I did all of these. Gets them pretty tight, and it is really easy. You can get like 3,000 feet of this stuff for $30 or $40 on Amazon. Make this whole kit, including a bag of the these pieces was like $50–$60. So definitely well worth it. It makes transporting this stuff a whole lot easier. So now that it's all bound together, you know, I wouldn't go and like try to hang by a piece or anything, but it has it all together. So whenever we go put it on a trailer, or you know, just transport it around here, you don't have, you know, 30 some loose boards that are gonna kind of try to shift and move and everything. So for transporting, excellent. And I'd have to think that while it dries, since I have it stacked and stickered, you have some gaps in there to where, you know, air movement will go through, and you also have you know, some pressure on it. So, you know, one thing they talk about whenever you stack and stickers to put something heavy on, well, I'm just using the clamping force of the strap to be the heavy weight pulling everything together. So like on the end, it's not foolproof. You still have, like, because these are so long, you have some dip pieces that are falling. So it's not, you know, 100%. And I didn't go all the way out to the end just because of how it worked out, where I have some shorter boards and I wanted to capture those too. If you had all long boards, you could get right out within a foot to the end. It would help. But overall, not too bad. And definitely a lot better than just loose. So that then gets this pile cleaned up. I have just a couple of 1x pieces, but again, they'll go with the 1x's that we cut from the other logs. But these pieces here are now ready to be loaded on the trailer, taken over.